Now that he's the Democrats' nominee in waiting, Barack Obama is certainly getting tougher scrutiny on a wide range of issues, including his rejection of public campaign funding and his position on free trade. Let's discuss this and more with his chief strategist, David Axelrod, who's joining us from Chicago. David, thanks for coming in.
Glad to be here, Wolf.
McCain in Canada today was going after Barack Obama for being protectionist because of his policies opposing free trade. He says it's going to cost a lot of jobs in the United States, export-related jobs, and hurt this economy. Listen to McCain's point.
Demanding unilateral changes and threatening to abrogate an agreement that has increased trade and prosperity is nothing more than retreating behind protectionist walls.
Is Senator Obama, if president, going to unilaterally abrogate NAFTA?
No. And what he says, he's had a conversation already with Prime Minister Harper. He'll speak to President Calderon. Wolf, his plan, and he's said it all along, is to sit down and say, let's make some adjustments and see what we can do. The reality is that NAFTA has been good in some ways and bad in others. And there are plenty of places. I note that Senator McCain is making his case in Canada. He ought to come and make it here in the United States and listen to what people around this country are saying. We're going to lose our consensus for trade in this country if we don't make the appropriate adjustments to our negotiating and our treaties so that they include standards for workers, standards for the environment. That was Senator Obama's objection to NAFTA in the first place, and I think most Americans agree with him.
And what if the Canadians and the Mexicans say no can do? They don't want to make any changes. They like it exactly the way it is.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's sit down and have a discussion about these issues, and that's what Senator Obama is proposing. But in the larger sense, on the issue of trade, he's saying we ought to take a new approach. He believes in trade. He's said that. He's been very clear with opponents of trade and supporters of trade that he believes in trade, but he feels that we have to be much tougher in our negotiations and take into account the country as a whole, our workers, our environment, and put together treaties that are not just good for select interests, but for the country as a whole.
As you know, Senator Obama is getting some sharp criticism, not only from McCain and Republicans, but even from Democrats. Some Democrats, some liberal groups, editorial pages, New York Times, Washington Post, for his decision to opt out of the public funding for his general election campaign. Russ Feingold, and a supporter of Barack Obama, Democrat of Wisconsin, saying this is not a good decision. While the current public financing system for the presidential primaries is broken, the system for the general election is not. He says Obama's decision was a mistake. Go ahead and explain why Senator Obama decided to change his mind on this.
Let me say that the whole point of campaign finance laws is to try and reduce the influence of large money in our politics. No one's done more to do that at the presidential level than Senator Obama in this campaign because of the grassroots support that he's had. 1.5 million or more contributors, average donation less than $100. He's really returning control to people at the grassroots. He's refused money from lobbyists, federal lobbyists. He's refused money from PACs. He's now the Democratic National Committee has followed suit. He's asked these 527 independent committees who've played so large in the last campaigns to stand down, and two of the larger ones have disbanded. He's doing more to reform our system as a candidate than anybody in my memory.
Let me just say, isn't the real decision behind this, and let's be blunt, that this is going to help him become elected president of the United States, because he could obviously raise $200, $300, maybe $400 million, which is a lot more than $85 million that he would get under public financing. Isn't that the real reason why he's doing this? Smart politics?
Wolf, let's be clear about one thing. John McCain's taking this money in the general election, but it doesn't preclude him from raising money for the Republican National Committee, and he's already raised tens and tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars for the Republican National Committee. By the time this is through, between Senator McCain, the Republican National Committee, and the 527s that he refuses to discourage, they're going to spend plenty of money, and they may well spend more money than we do. We need to be prepared for that, and we're going to be prepared for that. But on the system of public financing, there's still no clarity as to whether Senator McCain is operating legally right now. He opted opted in at one point, he opted out at another point. He used being in the system to get a loan, to get on ballots, and then he said, no, I'm not part of the system. And that issue is still being looked at as he spends all this money in the primary season toward his general election campaign. So for all his pieties, there are many questions about how he's operating in this campaign. Plus, his average donation is much, much higher, closer to 1,000 than 100. So I don't think that he is in a position to moralize too much about this.
But it is smart politics on your part, isn't it?
Well, I think that it's good politics to be competitive with your opponents. We expect our opponents to spend a lot of money and to do it with a ferocity that has become the hallmark of the Republican Party in these national elections. Nobody in America believes the Republicans are not going to have a lot of money. And if you look at how they're raising money at $28,000 a pop for the Republican National Committee, you can see that there's not going to be any tag days over there for John McCain.
One final question. Bill Clinton, he's been sort of silent since Hillary Clinton came out enthusiastically and endorsed Barack Obama. What does that say to you, if anything?
Well, look, I think that Senator Obama has respect for President Clinton. There are only 4 presidents alive, and he is a repository of unbelievable insights and wisdom about government and politics. I know that they're going to get together. They're going to have the opportunity to speak, and that he's going to be someone who Senator Obama consults with, not just during the campaign but after the campaign. But these things take time. We just went through a 17-month struggle, the most competitive nominating fight in the history of the Democratic Party. Give us a few days to get our family back in order here, Wolf. We're going to be fine.
But I just want to be clear. You want Bill Clinton out there campaigning for Barack Obama, right?
Bill Clinton is an asset to the Democratic Party, and he is, as I said, a repository of extraordinary knowledge about not just politics, but particularly government and public policy. We want him involved, and I hope he will be.
Do you know when there's going to be a meeting between the two of them?
I do not, Wolf. Look, again, I don't think that all of these things have to be resolved in a day or a week. We're going to get together. I'm absolutely confident of that. I don't want you to worry about it all weekend long. We're going to be all right.